I'm starting to block out some sample copy, and let's go ahead and create a little layout for a poster or a flyer. So I have our main headline. I actually have this as one unit. I'm going to reduce the spacing a little bit here, so I'm just going to go over here and reduce the leading a little bit. Great. Make it a little bit bigger. You really want your headline to pop out. And I'm going to play around with alignment a little bit. So I'm going to go up to my paragraph and kind of play around with some alignment options. We have a nice big bold headline. Put like a little subhead headline that goes here. I'll probably need to make that a little bit thicker. But see the nice contrast between here? Big, bold, a little bit smaller, and a lighter weight. So that's a nice contrast. It's nice to use a dividing line every once in a while to separate blocks of text, just to kind of give a graphical element that goes between certain elements. So you have this kind of, you don't see text, text, text. You kind of have something to divide big blocks of copy. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of keep it. When you have something kind of going left alignment, sometimes it's nice to keep it that way throughout the piece. Kind of adds a nice unity. So I kind of have some call to actions here. A phone number, which is not quite as important. So I'm going to maybe tuck that, make it smaller, and put it to the right. But the website is going to be our big call to action. So I'm actually going to make this perhaps a bolder weight and maybe italic. Maybe not. Let's do bold. And what I like to do is add contrast within a character or within a block of text. I'm going to keep that bold, but I'm actually going to make this a lighter weight. Make it regular. And that has a nice balance, doesn't it? It kind of shakes it up a little bit. It gives your eye a chance to break down the information when it's different weights like that. So I have, this is the box I created. I'm going to go ahead and create another box just like this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this just so we can practice our type tool a little bit. So how did we create that? We go to Area Type Tool, but first we're going to need to make our little rectangle. And you can actually do this with any shape. We can actually do it with a circle. So I'm going to go back, and now that I have my box, Area Type Tool, and then click up here, and I'm just going to paste my copy in. And I can adjust this to make it a more narrow. I can even copy and paste, have it be 2 columns of text. So that could have a use. Let's experiment a little bit, and let's do our let's do an ellipse tool. Let's do a shape tool for a circle. And I think I have this copied and pasted already. Let's go ahead and slide this over. And let's see if we can't get the text to load in a circle. So we're going to go to Area Type Tool. Just ignore that warning and just click around. There we go. I can actually conform it to a circle if I wanted to. So that can be kind of interesting. So you could do any shape. You could do a triangle. You could do a star. It's a great way to load text within boxes, but the way I use it the most is to load it into rectangle boxes for my body copy. They call this the smaller text called body copy. So we're going to start to experiment a little bit with this and see what we could do with angled type and some other things. So let's go ahead and add a bold background. So I'm actually going to go to my layers panel. I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm just going to add a box here. I could do it any color really. I could do it black. Let's do a nice black background, maybe like a really dark gray. Okay, and I'm going to move this layer below this layer. And I'm going to lock it so I don't accidentally move it. And I'm just going to drag and select all of our text. And since that background layer is locked, I don't accidentally select it. I'm going to make everything like maybe a light gray. So now we're going to start to really experiment. Let me go ahead and move that off a little bit. So what can we do here? Call to action. I can always have that down here. Maybe I can have this spread across a little bit down here. Maybe have this line divide the body copy in the top section. What if I angled this a little bit? What if I did this? Right? And let me actually, I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to copy and paste this style. I'm going to do just a couple lines of copy here. Okay, so headline right here. I'm going to experiment. These are all the same angle. And I just all I did was I went to my text box here, and you see that little place where you can actually turn the object, just like you would a shape. You could do it there as well. Let's go to the corner. Okay, headline, right. I have tight spacing, make it look cohesive. So the balance is off, so we can always change that by maybe changing the weight on one of these to light. Just experimenting a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Slide that up here. We also have a sub-headline. We could put that here a little bit. And of course, we don't have a photo in this, but we're just trying to learn our type right now. So we can do a lot of design without using photos if you are really strong with your typography. I'm just taking the eyedropper tool, so I have this selected right here, this phone number, and I want to adopt the same spacing and style. So I'm going to go ahead and select my phone number. I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool, and I'm just going to hover over here and select. And now I have the same style adopted. So you're starting to see a theme with styles that I'm using. I'm not using too many different styles or too many different fonts. Just enough to have it be a little different, but not too many where it overwhelms the design. So I'm just lining everything up, making sure it's kind of the same alignment. I can always select this object, and select my line and go up to alignment. Or if I have the alignment options panel, bring that up and do a left alignment. So now I know it's all aligned perfectly down to the left. And let me get the website aligned too. So I'm just selecting all these objects, left alignment, and now I know it's aligned perfectly down to the side. So I'm starting to make this poster a little bit more realistic. I just kind of swapped out some of the text for some more realistic, believable text, not just sample text. And so I'm going to play around a little bit now that I've just typed in some new information. So this is a little longer than my sample text, so I'm just going to make some adjustments to the kerning, the tracking. I'm just going to reduce that a little bit. Let's reduce that so we have a little bit more tighter spacing since it's a much longer block of text than I originally had in the sample, so that looks nice. My website probably needs to be reduced in size now. Maybe the website's not as important. We'll make that smaller, but the website is more important. So let's kind of balance that out, make that more important. In terms of, this is called, what we're doing is called type hierarchy. And what type or typography hierarchy does, it helps us balance all of our content in a way that values importance of certain items. So this is obviously our headline. This is the most important item. It's obviously big and it's obviously central to our design. And a subheading is probably something that's important to the headline, but it's not as essential. So it's a little bit smaller. And of course, this detailed body copy is less important. And of course, our website that's our call to action. That's what we want people to visit after seeing this poster. So that's why that's bigger down here and this is smaller. So that's just called type hierarchy if you want to give it an official name. So let's go ahead and I feel like this needs a little something, so I'm just going to kind of adjust some type here, maybe align this M to the F, maybe make it a block. I could play around with the font choice here. I don't know if I like the font choice here. So we're just going to preview some fonts. I've collected all these through the years. There's plenty of websites you can go to download fonts. Trying to think of something that goes really well. Maybe this Go Bold Pro. And I want these to match, so I'm going to take music, get my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to adopt the same font for music and the same font for festival. And this is a condensed font, so it's a little bit taller and more narrow, so you can fit a lot more text in a small area. So that's a nice font choice for this. So maybe do something like this, maybe make it bigger. We really want people to see it. I can continue to play around with weights. Italic, I could do all italics. That might look neat. Yeah, I like that a lot. I really like that balance. Great. So let's play around with the color a little bit. Let's go back to our locked layer. Let's unlock it and let's select our black background and let's do kind of a really deep purple. There we go. And I think one thing that's missing is a photo. So now that we've done some type work, let's play around with some photos.